Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we have an interesting issue that has raised the worldwide community's interest. Prepare to be surprised as we plunge into the surprising turn of events surrounding why America is concerned about the China-Iran alliance. Prepare to uncover the enigmatic reasons behind the surprise and that is fully involved. Let's embark on this interesting journey together as we uncover the amazing story of the US about this alliance. We will discover the fascinating considerations that inspire this major choice as we dig deep. Join us in this trip. Is there more to the story? Then join us in this journey. Stay tuned to discover the reality behind the US. However, in 2020, China and Iran announced a plan called the 25 Strategic Cooperation Agreement, involving an amount of up to $400 billion in the northern part of the Strait of Hormuz. In this massive collaboration agreement, China and Iran would undertake large-scale economic building on Kish Island, including energy ports, mythology transportation, and other industries. When Iran and China unveiled their grand scheme, the American media viewed it as a major potential danger. So, how crucial is the development of this island to China and Iran's growth? What type of threat does it represent to America in terms of global energy trading routes? The Strait of Hormuz is an important waterway that connects the Persian Gulf with the Indian Ocean. Every day, almost 20% of the world's crude oil and natural gas must pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Thus, shipping routes across the Strait of Hormuz have a significant influence on worldwide energy supply and pricing. In reality, Iran's geographical position near the inner entrance to the Strait of Hormuz makes it a critical location for controlling the strait. Ships sailing from the Persian Gulf to India, Africa, or China must transit by Kish Island before crossing the Hormuz Strait. As a result, whoever controls this island is akin to ensuring transit in the Hormuz Strait. Many oil and gas-producing countries today rely significantly on the Strait of Hormuz for export trade routes to deliver energy to global markets. According to energy trade data, up to 12 million barrels of crude oil are carried across the Strait of Hormuz every day, with a quarter of the crude oil being sent to China. The Strait of Hormuz is a key energy import conduit for China, and the country has been devoted to securing its own oil security. Because the center of the Strait of Hormuz is near Kish Island and has more strategic worth, China may acquire greater influence and control if it invests and cooperates in the Strait of Hormuz region. Prior to this, Iran faced severe sanctions from Western nations, which delivered significant damage to Iran's energy industry, particularly the dramatic fall in oil exports. At the height of the sanctions, Iran could only export 500,000 to 600,000 barrels of crude oil per day. The United States has also had a significant influence on another pillar industry in Iran, the car industry. Because of Western meddling, several nations are terrified of being sanctioned by the U.S. history, Gemini, and have halted cooperation with Iran's auto industry. At that period, the two pillar industries of Iran's economy were seriously hit, and the auto industry was nearly immobilized. With the effect of the new COVID-19 outbreak in 2020, Iran's economic position deteriorated further, with GDP falling by 3 to 5%. As a result, when Iran's economy is experiencing difficulties, China must become the best partner because China has superior technology and great investment capabilities. It can provide a helping hand in the short term to assist Iran in overcoming its economic troubles. Iranian President Rahim visited China, and he maintained a warm and cooperative approach towards China, emphasizing again that Kish Island has enormous growth potential in the world market. China and Iran can collaborate to develop an island, one of the largest oil storage facilities in the Persian Gulf area, and a canal that connects the whole Middle East oil supply chain. In the future, the island will also be linked to the Gwadar port China already invested in and built in Pakistan, considerably cutting the transportation route of China's offshore energy and overcoming the Malacca Strait problem in China's offshore energy transportation. This, in my opinion, is really negative news for Western countries. For China, the building project on Kish Island is also a vital entry point into the Persian Gulf area. China might invest in this region to create a market for its sporting superior technologies. China will continue to work with Iran to develop an economic free trade zone based on the original dogs and oil deposits. This cooperative strategy is expected to generate up to $500 billion in economic value. Clearly, this intriguing business deal is a win-win situation. According to the cooperation agreements inked by China and Iran, the partnership duration is 25 years, and China would spend $400 billion in Iran for infrastructure projects. Among these, Chinese investment in Kish Island's infrastructure and energy production has received a lot of attention. The deal calls for the enlargement and modernization of the current terminal import on Kish Island. Simultaneously, China will offer Iran modern oil refining equipment and related industrial technologies, as well as build an economic free trade zone based on RMB for direct transactions. In exchange for Chinese investment, Iran will supply China with oil at a significantly reduced price agreed upon in the agreement. This partnership has built a stronger link between the US and Iranian oil. However, several Western media outlets suggested that China and Iran's 25-year strategic partnership will pose a significant danger to the United States. So, is this true? For a long time, the United States relied on the value of the dollar in the Middle East. The bulk of countries must rely on the US dollar for oil trade and global goods imports. However, through this process, nations that have used US dollars for commerce are soon impacted by more US currency issues, resulting in an erosion of the purchasing power of previously held US dollars. As a result, the dollar in these countries is under threat of depreciation. They must sell more resources or products to restore the same purchasing power. Furthermore, because the natural conditions in the Middle East are unfavorable for food production, most of these nations must import a significant amount of food. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, Iran imported an average of more than 9 million tons of grain each year during the previous decade. Food imports from the Middle East are likewise increasing year after year. For these Middle Eastern countries that must import a large amount of food each year, the drop in the purchasing power of the US dollar will result in an increase in global food prices. This may result in increased food import costs for Middle Eastern countries, increasing the economic strain and risk of civil unrest in these countries. With the successful completion of Kish Island by China and Iran, this free trade zone will become a significant gateway for Iran to acquire grain. Iran transfers oil to China in order to get renminbi, which may then be used to purchase a wide range of agricultural products and raw materials in China or Southeast Asia, as well as a variety of industrial commodities in China. Natural gas and oil are the sources of American infatuation with Iran. It is difficult to consume such a fervent American emphasis on the nation from the time of a U.S. Central Intelligence Agency-backed coup against Iran's elected government in 1953 until the present. That these two resources weren't available, this shouldn't be shocking.